Hey, you guys, I'm Tashina.
I'm Tom Riddle.
That's why you brought the damn on. This is Portia. I'm gonna start saying her name. I'm gonna start saying I'm Tashina. This is Portia.
Portia.
So today we're going to talk about that's what she get. That is what she get. So today we're going to talk about two of the worst cults in our opinion. This is our opinion. This is the two of the worst cults.
Mine is literally in history.
So today we're going to be talking about the Children of God in Jonestown. So let's get into the dark side of humans.
So Jonestown, aka People's Temple. This cult is responsible for one of the largest mass suicides ever. Over 917 people. They said it may have been more people, but some bodies were not found. And Jim Jones was the leader. So he was born in Indiana, in a little small town in Indiana. And he always wanted, he wanted to always do the opposite of what was easy, like wanted attention and stuff. So he was one of the first white men to ever adopt like a black kid. And he named that kid after him. So Jim Jones Jr. is his black adopted son, which he often introduced as my black adopted son. And he had this whole thing when he wanted a rainbow family. So he had like a kid of every race. He had a lot of adoptive children. And he went to a church, a Pentecostal church, because there was, it's minorities. And he wanted to get their love and their attention and, help them fight the good fight. So he said, he was all about equality and social justice and all this, allegedly. He did this to get his foot in the door with a lot of people and earn their trust. So then they leave from Indiana. They travel on to San Francisco.
Yes.
And then in San Francisco, they set up, they're getting bigger. He's having all kind of people like give up all their money, all their inheritance, their lands, their houses, everything, sign over to him. And he starts building a bigger church. As he's doing this, though, a lot of family members are growing very, leery that their moms and their, elder people are giving up their whole life to this man. So they start investigating and talking. So a journalist, wrote a piece on them, and it got the attention of everybody. So Jim Jones, he's like, know what? They keep fucking with us. Let's go. Let's bounce. I bought this piece of land in Guyana. I'm gonna start flying y'all out little by little, so it's not real noticeable that a whole group of people just bounced and left the country. So he had been bought the land, and he bought a small plane where it was given to him. And he started taking people, but he will make people take buses to other states. And they'll leave out of other states or whatever. So it wasn't being really red flag that all these people were up and leaving. So the first set of people got there, they were like, okay, this isn't really what he sold us, but it's ours. We could create it from the bottom. We're working together. We're a family. It's all peace, love, and all this. So they start building it up, and it's starting to come together. They got schools, they got daycares, they got medical facilities, all that, and a lot of little huts. And then they got a common area where they all go to worship and stuff. But as the time goes on, they start okay, we're not really eating. We only eating rice and powdered milk, and then the rice got bugs in it, and that Guyana already didn't have enough food for the people who was already there before they came. So now they here, and there's really not enough food for everybody. So people start saying hey, he's selling us a dream. So then he starts working them like dogs. He working them like slaves, but he telling them, you're not being worked like a slave. You're doing this out of love, and they eating it up. So they steady doing it. So some people did start rebelling. He would inject them with stuff to get them to stop talking, and then put them over in a hut where can't nobody talk to them, can't nobody see them, and they can't, get into nobody else's mind. So finally, somebody, some type of way, some family members is like, "Yo, we need to talk to our parents, our sisters. This is not normal." So they get the congressman. They get the congressman to go over there, Leo Ryan, and he set it up. Him and a lot of family members go over there to try to talk, and some ex members too that got family members in there. They all go to Guyana to try to see what's going on, see if it's good. So they sold him a dream. He's thinking like, okay, this is a good place. I think you guys are just a little overprotective. Let's let them go. But before they left out, somebody tried to slip him a note, and his dumb ass dropped the note. Dropped it right there in front of Jim Jones. And then tried to like pick it up, like, okay. So anyways, he picked it up, he read it, or whatever. And he waited a minute, and he didn't say nothing. But the reporter was like, somebody else gave me a note. What you got to say about this? Why would you do that? You could just snuck him out the back. So the reporter sit him down and was like, look at this letter I got. It's people here that don't want to be here. What you got to say? He was like, oh, these people are lying. They lying. They don't want to go. They just saying this for attention because they might have not been getting the attention that they want. He starts sweating. He started getting nervous or whatever. So anyways, that opened up a fucking can of worms. A gang of people started saying, I'm out. Let's go. I'm going with y'all. We don't want to be here. So they pack up their stuff and they leaving. They go to, they're waiting because they have to get another plane because the first plane they got wasn't big enough. So they waiting for the second plane and they all nervous. They shitting bricks like, this motherfucker about to do something because we already know we do in the middle of the night suicide drills. So they already know he's capable of craziness. And he tells them, like, if y'all leave, then that means y'all want to die. So leave if you want. But in the midst of keeping, because you might ask, why did they stay there? He will have them sign blank pieces of paper. And then later on, he'll fill in, like, I'm molesting my daughter. Or he'll go kill somebody and say, Tasha killed this person. And, like, your signature is there saying you killed that person. So he did stuff like that to blackmail you to stay in the cult. Or religion, cult to me. So a lot of people were scared to go because they thought they were going to end up in jail because he had parents say that they raped their own kids and stuff like that. And he had them record some stuff and say it. He did even have a couple people like molest the kid to be like, we got you on tape touching the kid. You can't go nowhere. If it's a very valuable person, they will make you do something really humiliating to keep you in the group. So not finally, but towards, nearing the end, they're waiting for the second plane to come. They all, like, he's going to do something crazy. But the congressman is like, nah, just chill. We out of here. So a flatbed truck pulls up, and they're like, oh, there's only two guys in there. They're probably just making sure. Little did they know, people pop up and they just let off. They spray the airplanes. They spray all them. They get out the flatbed trucks. If they, like, people started trying to run, they got hit. They went up to those people, shot them again, and that was the beginning of the end for 917 people. So after they did that, he freaks out. He's like, we just killed the congressman. They coming to get us. The term drink the Kool-Aid came from this. It was, no one ever said nothing about drinking the Kool-Aid before Jonestown. So he's rallying everybody up and he puts them in the, their little worship hall or whatever. And he's telling them like, oh, we got to do this. They're going to come get us. And he's trying to act like he didn't order the people to go shoot up the plane. He's trying to act like he don't know what went wrong and all this other stuff. So, and he tells them either you're going to drink the Kool-Aid or we going to shoot you. Or you're going to get shot with a bow and arrow. So pick what you want. The thing that is just so breathtaking to me, they killed the children first. Over 200 babies were murdered. And they made the parents murder them. They made their own parents murder them. And then they made the parents commit suicide. So you murdered your child, then you commit suicide. And if you said no, they shot you in the head right then and there in front of everybody. No one could get away. It was blocked off. Now, there were a couple of defectors of what they call them. When Congressman Ryan was there talking, they knew some stuff was about to pop off. So they went and hid in the jungles. Jim Jones's son and a couple other people were away at a basketball, like a religious basketball thing, so they survived. They came home to their families just murdered. And so I think in all of the Jim Jones people, I think only 10 people survived that were actually there. But out of the people who came over, 6 of them died, including the congressman. And a lot of them have like deformities now because one of the women who went, she got shot. Like they shot her leg up to where it was no leg no more because they were just shooting at first. And so, so anyway, so they put them in there. They made the parents kill the babies, and then either they killed the parents, or they made the parents kill themselves, or they shot the parents. They said that Jim Jones died from a gun-inflicted gunshot wound or whatever, so they're thinking he like made sure everybody was dead, and then he took himself out. Now, when all this happened, because there were survivors, like, because, they came over and they're flying over Jonestown to like, try to go see, what happened or whatever. They think it's like trash thrown on the ground. As they're flying over, it look like trash everywhere. As they get closer, they notice their bodies everywhere. And then it's like babies, then it's like parents on top of babies. And it's just crazy how many people were just on the ground like nothing. I don't even know what to say about this because I don't understand how someone could even lead a group of people to do this, how someone could do this themselves. Like, he's up there with Hitler in my books, like, disgusting human being. I think I got everything on him.
Okay.
Are you crying?
No, my eyes is itching. No, I'm about to cry on this one.
I did cry. Like, I cried earlier and I got it out because I didn't realize they make the parents inject their own children. So that this shit though. Whew,
okay, so we're gonna be talking about the Children of God, which was a sex cult. So it's like they basically ran a child sex ring. So this is like a pedophile's dream.
Playground. So
it all started in the early 1960s by a man named David Burge. Yeah. He was a preacher who traveled. He was a preacher who traveled to various churches with his children in the 1960s to spread the word of Christ to teenagers, but the message wasn't getting across. So him and his family moved to Huntington Beach in California in 1967 to run a coffee shop, but he still, preached. And he noticed how the teenagers were dressed. Around that time, they were hippies. They had long hair, So he started dressing like them. And he finally started, getting to them, they were starting to listen. So in 1969, the group was called Teenagers of God or something. Then he finally changed it to Children of God. And I'm going to call it COG because I'm not going to keep saying Children of God. So the COG had 50 members. Burge and the COG, they hit the road. They were, trying to recruit people, and they ended up it grew over to 200 people. People ended up dropping everything. They quit their jobs, everything they owned just to join this group. But in the 1970s, the COG started to get, a little weird. So Burge just started living in seclusion. He didn't live with his cult. He didn't see them. They didn't see him. He didn't see them. He only communicated to them by writing letters and writing these weird ass pamphlets and drawings or whatever. So in 1971, he wrote a letter, Shepherd Time Story. So in this letter, he went to tell his members to laugh, to sing, dance, play, and fuck, and bear lots of little lambs. So basically, he preached sex. It was basically a sex cult. He used it that God said it's normal, sex is love, and God is love. So, so basically in public, the COG was evoking the name of God, but in private, the leader was, it's basically a child sex ring. And what makes me sick about this is that the parents were okay with this. Like, basically, he was preaching pedophilia. He was saying it was okay for the mother to touch their son. And I'm talking about little bit. I'm talking about 2, 3 years old. And 11-year-olds having sex with 28-year-old women. And it's just...
It was a lot of incest as well.
Yeah, so Bridge was having sex with his own children. And he was encouraging the other members to do the same. He would preach sexuality, sharing, to his followers and children. He released letters with drawings of mothers doing sexual things to young children. So basically, there was a drawing. Made me sick. The mother was literally, I'm not going to say it, but you can know, had her mouth in places that shouldn't be on a child. And these are little children.
And you can tell in the drawings that
it's literally, And then there was one when a mother's laying in the bed with her child and her hand is like down there by his, area. So, and then he started pimping out his female members. He called it, what did he call it? Flirty fishing. To have sex with men to pull them in. To be
rich,
a part of
if they got money.
To be a part of the congregation. So, and he didn't mind, he didn't care if they were married or not. Like, this is what you need to do. And so, basically, it was religious prostitution. Like, they're not even prostituting really for money. Just bringing in these people into the congregation. So at this time, it was over 130 communities around the world and over 10,000 full members. So to me, I don't like, okay, it's just sick because parents were having sex with children, with their own children. Mothers and fathers are watching their children have sex with other people. There was a time when an 11-year-old boy, and they called him the second generation. So basically the children that were born into these cults, like they were born into it. They didn't see nothing wrong. They thought it was normal to have sex with your mom or to have sex with other. Like he described a time where he had sex with, he was 11, he had sex with a 20-year-old woman and his mom. While it was happening, he looked up and his mom was in the back of the room watching. Like, how much damage are you doing to these children?
A lot.
And they think it's normal. They're born into this. And it makes me sick because you are their parents. You're supposed to protect them. And then you want to say, oh, because God, then what kind of God is that? Why would you even want to follow this God if this is what, it's not normal. You're an adult, you're grown, and you know this is not normal. And for you to follow this pedophile that you don't even see no more to do this, I feel like you've always wanted to do this.
The thing with me is that they were following like the law, like the 10 Commandments, like of Moses. He comes in and was like, "Oh, we ain't doing that no more."
No, basically,
this is what we doing now.
He made it like set.
Yeah,
and then
they're like, okay.
It's way more to this story, like a lot deep, and me and her is gonna do a whole video on it because it's this.
On both these cults, it's so much stuff we didn't cover because, but we just wanted to touch on both of those.
Touch on them.
Yes.
So basically, the second generation of kids that were born when the group finally, so he dies in 1994. So the children of God, which they started going by the family, they wanted to try to move away from the pedophilia and all that stuff, and they started donating stuff for this, but their dark history, they just couldn't hide from it. It just came out. So basically, he had a stepson, and he used to have his nanny fondle the boy, had the little boy fondle her, and all that. So when the boy was older, he wanted to meet up with his nanny, and he wanted to try to, get closure or whatever. And he ends up killing the nanny and then killing himself. And a lot of the second generation children after the cult split, they didn't know how to be in regular society. So a lot of them turned to drugs and alcohol, and a lot of them killed themselves.
Over 100 committed suicide.
They did not know. Like, imagine being born into this and you thinking it's normal for your mom to touch you this way, or you to touch your mom that way. Because they were encouraging for the kids to touch their moms, the daughters to touch their dads. Like, they would even have, like, banquets, and little girls, like 6-year-old little girls, they would just have, like, scarves tied around them, no shirt on, just dancing in front of these grown-ass men. They had a room of just orgies, like, just everybody just having sex. Like, basically, he's just saying, God is love, sex is love, so it's the same thing. And it just makes me sick to my stomach that these parents, and even the ones, because there's a lot of them that they didn't allow their children to do it, but they were still, why? I don't get that. I can't wrap my mind around it. why you would want to be in this thing and why you want to put your children to that.
He even had went to. This is why this one husband and wife left. He went to the husband and was like, "This child is being fast. We need you to smash her, like have sex with her, and put her in her place." He was like, "No. If you want that, you do it yourself.
Yeah.
But if no, I'm not doing it." So then he left. But to me, it's just like it took enough for him to just be like, "Oh no, we leaving." I'm like,
I mean, as soon
I don't understand none of it. I don't understand Warren Jeffs. He marries his daughters, he marries like his grandkids and stuff. I don't understand any of these leaders that do this. Yeah. Like, if you want to do polygamy, that's fine. If they're not your fucking sister and you're like, that's your life, do it. But when it comes to you messing with a child,
with their children,
that's a whole nother level. And to me,
there was all the ones that were doing it. They were pedophiles themselves. That was just their
They
dream.
wanted to do that.
They wanted to do it because there's no way in the world. I don't care what you tell me. God tells me to do. God's gonna strike. I'm not doing that because in my mind, the God that I believed in wouldn't want me to do this.
Wouldn't want me to hurt my child.
Why would he want that? And then at the point the man secluded himself. He never even went to be with his followers. He just sat up there on his high horse.
He was in China?
Yeah.
And then he sent for his granddaughter to come be his wife. His granddaughter was one of the people who left. She didn't end up dying.
Yeah, she left, yeah.
She ended up I think it was overdose or something.
Because they ended up doing drugs. Because imagine, I can just only imagine you born into that and then you try to go into society and what you thought was okay is not.
With her, she didn't go to drugs because she was molested. She went to drugs because she told him no and he beat her severely.
Yeah.
He beat her so bad. He did so many things to her. Like, she just broke. And finally, she was somewhere and she seen some people. She seen the people who left. And I was like, "We want to get out. We'll get you out." She was like, "Yes, I want out." So they got her out and she went to go commit suicide. But she talked to them for a while. And then, she ended up not committing suicide. But because of all the things that her family put her through, she was severely damaged and unfortunately turned to drugs.
And there is a lot of kids that don't even talk to their own parents right now. Mm-hmm. There's times, the two that I've seen in the documentary, their parents didn't let the men touch them, but they seen their mom having sex with other men. There are men being grown-ass men living in there with the children, and they didn't even know these men. He would just write a thing and say, "These men are going to live with you." Mm-hmm. Like, I can't wrap my mind around how weak-minded you have to be. Because I have no sympathy. I have no sympathy for the adults that chose that. That's what I have sympathy for is the children. And that's what makes me sick to my stomach, that these people be having these children raised in this and allowing this to do it. And then they want to go on TV and act like they were the victims. And no, you weren't. You're too old to be brainwashed. You made that decision to go on that cult and have that done to your children. You should fucking feel bad about yourself. Stop coming on TV and playing like you're the fucking victim.
With Jonestown, though, I do feel like those people were victims because if they didn't kill their kids, they would have blown their brains out.
I literally was like, shoot us. Because I'm not injecting my kids.
Well, because they said the injection with the babies was quick and not painful.
I just couldn't be able to do that.
So a lot of it said the babies didn't suffer or whatever. But with them, I do feel like they were tricked because it wasn't nothing like that. It wasn't no pedophilia or nothing like that. It just he made them think like less is better. We don't have nothing, but there's no crime here. There's no this here. And like I said, he really held them he held them hostage and was either like, so they did what they did. The sad thing too about the people that were murdered, because they did not, I don't feel like that should be qualified as suicide, that were murdered in Guyana, when they came back to the United States, a lot of cemeteries was like, no, they can't be buried here because they don't want like the cult, attention and crazy stuff going on. So it was really hard for family members to be able to bury their families. and some resorted just to cremation. And also, if they did go to the government and say, hey, my parent was there, the government was like, well, you got to come up with $400 and something to get them back over here if you want them. And then no one had that type of money. And it was one family that had 8 family members in Guyana. And they're like, how are we going to come up with $400 and something each for each family member? We don't have that. But there is still 234 people that were unidentified. So in 1967, if you had anybody that was associated with the People's Temple or Jim Jones, look into seeing if that family member is yours, because there are still some unidentified people.
Yeah. No, this one, these people walked in there willingly.
Oh, no, that one's different.
Walked in there willingly. Like, it makes me sick to my goddamn stomach. When I watch it, it is other ones I can get into these other cults that these people are so dumb. And then they get on TV and tell their story, and I'm looking at them like, motherfucker, you chose this. Like, you did this.
This video is going to cause a lot of hate. Not hate, but people to be mad.
At the end, this is our opinion.
This is our opinion.
If
you felt disrespected, we didn't mean to disrespect you, but this our beliefs, our upbringing. Yeah, because it's just like the FLL.
But if this upsets you,
FLLDS with Warren Jeffs and all that.
Yeah, but if this upsets you about this pedophilia, you need to get yourself checked out.
And you can unfollow us. Like, not like that, but like that.
Because this one it's sick. It's sick, and for you to be like literally touching your own kid because God said so.
God
like,
didn't tell you to
people
do that.
use God's
God tell you not to commit adultery, so why he gonna tell you to go rub on a little kid booty?
It's literally a whole sex cult.
It's just an excuse for
they never even preached about God. It was all like
he changed God's gospel to what he wanted
because he's a sick fuck, and he just died. He didn't get in trouble for it. No. He just died. The cult. Nobody got arrested. Nobody got arrested in this cult.
It's another cult too, which I'm not gonna say because that's gonna cause a whole lot of shit. It's a cult, but people say it's a religion. None of those people are getting arrested, and that cult is thriving in one of the biggest cults in America. But yeah, no, they just keep molesting kids and moving people. And it's just crazy to me that these people are not getting in trouble.
This makes me like the one cult that didn't really bother me. What was that cult? The one
Nexus
one. I mean, because
the alien.
Yeah, because they were adults and they didn't bring their children into this.
Only like 9 people murdered.
Yeah, they were adults and they wanted to go into space. I just want to know, how do you believe this? How do you believe this? There was another cult about a guy, I forgot his name. He said he was an angel. He said he was a freaking angel, and people believed him. This woman left her husband and her job. She was a lawyer, had a good-ass job, left her husband, and took her daughters to go live with this man. This man talking about his powers are going low, so he have to have sex with her daughters to up his power. What kind of angel is this? Like,
you'll be surprised, though. You'll be surprised with the way people can manipulate others. Some people are more weak-minded.
They are weak-minded.
Some people are. It's a documentary. Y'all need to go watch this. After you watch it, leave some comments below on what y'all think. Abducted in Plain Sight on Netflix.
They should have been ashamed.
Go watch it. That's another one that the parents, I feel like, should be in prison.
In jail.
I feel like these motherfuckers let their daughter get kidnapped by the same person 3 times. The same person.
I don't understand.
Hold on. He didn't just kidnap the daughter. He fucked the mama and he fucked the daddy.
How do you have that much power? I don't understand, because I can't understand because I'm not weak-minded. And I'm not going to knock people for being weak-minded. But when
ain't that much love in the world that you gonna touch my child.
But when you put your children into this, like, you are once you have this kid, that is your job to protect them. I'm talking protect them until they grown. I mean, you're supposed to be, and you allow these monsters to penetrate, go into there, and just fuck them up.
I have no biological children. But if Tashina was to come to me and be like, oh, I'm going to this cult and I'm taking the girls with me, I would say, fuck you. The girls is coming with me. You go right off to the sunset with the cult. But they're coming with me, They're not going with you to the cult. There's no way it's gonna happen. No way, shape,
No
or
way.
form. I'm sorry.
And I really think these parents should be held accountable.
I
They
think so,
should be
too.
held fucking accountable. And they're not the victims. They're not the victims. They sit here on these documentaries and woe is me. And I believe this, man. You believe them. That's why you can't press charges or anything, because you willingly did
But I
this.
feel like the kids should be able to press charges against
They
the
should, because you were supposed to be there and protect. You literally just handed me to these monsters. You literally handed me to them because somebody told you to. And he's just another human. He says he's a prophet. And that's the thing that gets me, is it's humans that they're following, not God.
But if they listen, if they really follow the Bible, a prophet's never going to tell you he's a prophet.
And even if I didn't even believe, say that.
And God ain't never going to step foot back on this earth. So if someone's walking on earth saying they're God, that's a false prophet.
I don't know. Like, I'm not religious at all.
I am.
I don't even believe in all that.
She do.
I
she
don't.
Just be talking.
She just can't accept that I don't.
She be praying.
I used to.
She be praying. She just be having her.
Even if I didn't know the Bible or know religion, I know in my heart what's right and what's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Regardless, if let's not put God in it. Let's not put none of that. Let's put what I feel inside. So you can't tell me that you didn't enjoy that shit. You didn't enjoy watching your kid have sex. You didn't enjoy, because I'm not going to do it. I'm going to beat your ass and I'm going to run out with my child. Like, it's not going to happen. And okay, I'm over it.
Sorry about the late post. It was my fault, y'all.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to have this up by tomorrow, if not Saturday.
I was on bed rest for 2 days.
So, yeah. Leave in the comment what is your worst cult. Because this is just our opinions. There could be other worse cults out there
that we don't know about.
Yeah.
There's a lot we don't know
but
about.
This one is the worst to me. So,
and Jim Jones is the worst one to me.
So.
And then what's your top 5?
Cults?
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Or my top.
I can't even think about the names.
My top is the Jim Jones and the Warren Jeffs.
And there's the Ant Hill kids. Those motherfuckers great.
And then the Manson.
The Manson.
That was a fucking cult.
That was a cult. Them motherfuckers though. And they talking about they was brainwashed. You ain't wasn't brainwashed.
I still think those are their worst. Those are my worst ones.
Yeah. There's a couple. I just
no,
don't
it's
know
another
names.
one. I just don't want to say
Yeah,
it.
there's a couple, but I forgot their names. I'm not good with remembering names. But so if you like this, like, subscribe, comment, and we'll see you in our next video.
Bye-bye.
Oh.
It's still going.
It's still going. It's not.